Hey everyone, I am T-Rex, and today I'm doing my review for Batman Arkham Asylum. This review is kicking off a little bit of a Batman marathon, as I will be reviewing a lot more Batman movies and some more DC video games. But anyways, back to Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum is a single-player action-adventure game made by Rocksteady Studios and was the beginning of the Arkham franchise and came out in 2009. And this game is iconic, to say the least. Many games have copied the action and style in this game, and that said though, this is going to be my first time playing through it, so I'm going in with no nostalgia, just cold, hard judgment. I'm just kidding. I'm a huge Batman fan and I love his stories and world building. Speaking of which, let's get into the narrative here. This is about Batman taking Joker to Arkham Asylum only for it to be a giant trap, leading to Joker breaking out all the inmates and the police force leaving Arkham Asylum, leaving Batman on the island alone, stuck on the island with all of his villains. Now, this is the bare storyline, and the longer the game goes on, you discover more and more things, and this narrative really does escalate, and I thought it was really fun. Now, this narrative has some pretty good pacing as well, as we really get to learn more and more things as the story goes on, and I know there was a good amount of things that we were discovering at a good pace. I thought the premise was pretty good, and I think that they executed it very well. I think that's why it worked so well. So it didn't have the greatest story, but it was pretty good, and I thought they executed it very well. Also, the world building and tone here is great. Being stuck on Arkham Asylum is just so oppressive, and you feel like you're always just trying to survive as you are so outnumbered. It feels like you are stuck in this depressing crime movie and that you just can't get out of it. They nail the tone here. Now, while the tone is great, the map here though is just a few buildings, and the buildings inside are just very linear, and they are just great. I love the inside of these maps and I love the inside of these buildings, but I wish there was more to do when you were outside of the buildings in the asylum. That said though, the linear sections in this game are so good. I think that's where the game is at its best. The world here though, I thought they did a good job with, but I wish they would have expanded the outside of it a bit more, and that leads to another issue that I have. Exploring the world here isn't that fun and isn't that good. I mean, exploration here really suffers because this game is very linear, so there isn't much things you're able to do when you beat the game, and there's not much to explore, and that kind of hurts the end game content, as I finished this game between 10 and 11 hours, and after beating the main story, I really haven't had any incentive to return to the game. And that's a shame, because I really want to explore in this game, because the core concepts here are just so fun. First off, the combat here. It is pretty good. It feels a bit more button mashy here, but it allows for some creativity, and when you get good, you really begin to get in the flow of this combat system. It really is good. I also love how you also have to think of when to counter guys, when to use a gadget, or punch a few guys real quick and take out a few guys. That's really a fun mechanic to use. Also, another huge part of this combat system is something called predator maps, which are basically stealth sections. I really don't like stealth in games. It's always tedious to me and not really fun.
I won't change my mind on anything, regardless of the facts that are set out before me. I'm dug in, and I'll never change.
At first, I was not a big fan of these predator maps, so the more I did and the more I got the hang of them, they were more and more fun. I like the idea of this causing fear in these inmates, and that's a fun idea. And these core concepts here, I just thought were great and very well executed, and playing the game against normal enemies is just great, but the boss fights here are just not that fun, and one of my biggest complaints. These boss fights are not fun because these boss fights are reused over and over again. There's this boss fight at the beginning against Bane, and I thought, hey, that was fun. I thought it was good. Then there was another fight, and they had the exact same mechanic in that fight. Then it was used in another boss fight. I think they used this Bane mechanic in like 4 separate boss fights. Also, another big fight is against Scarecrow. His first fight you have with him is really cool. It's the first time you ever see it. It's stealth, but you do it and you're like, whoa, that was really unique and I liked what they were going for. And then they do it again. You're like, oh, we're doing this a second time, whatever. And then you do it a third time and it's just like, okay, are we really gonna do this again? It just gets so boring.
Okay. You had me going there for the first part. The second half kind of threw me.
After a while, it becomes less of, ooh, spooky times, just, oh, I got spotted again on this level, and this is the 3rd time in the game I've had to do this level, only for Scarecrow to do his, and after death, oblivion speech.
And at the end of fear, oblivion.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, come on, I'm so done with this. And what sucks here is they have these amazing boss fights, like the one against Killer Croc. Even though I sadly have to admit, it spooked me a little bit, but
I want out permanently.
But that boss level was fantastic, so it sucks that we keep getting these boss battles that are such a chore to get through because we've played them so many times in this game. I mean, the Lego Batman video game has more creative and fun boss fights in this game. Also, you want these fights to be better because the characters here are so great and there are great takes on these characters. Scarecrow thematically in this game is just so great, along with Killer Croc, so you want to fight them in these awesome fights, but most of these villains here just get these super lame fights that we really get sick of, which is a shame. Even when you fight Joker at the end, it's pretty lame. I won't show it because there are some big spoilers there, but trust me, it's boring. Speaking of Joker, I think this is a good time to bring up the voice cast here because Joker and Batman here are huge. Batman here is voiced by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill voices the Joker in this. And if you don't know, these are the voice actors from Batman the Animated Series, which I may not have seen. Still though, for a filthy noob like me, I think that the performances here are great. I think Kevin Conroy does a great job as Batman, although I might prefer Batman Brave and the Bold Batman over him.
Who are you? I'm Batman. No, you're not. I'm Batman. Nah, dudes. I'm Batman.
Mark Hamill, though, is fantastic as the Joker, although he has some stiff competition with the likes of Jack Nicholson, Batman Brave and the Bold Joker, Scooby-Doo Joker, Heath Ledger Joker, Scary Joker.
Let me introduce you to the new Joker.
But I thought he was great, and I think he is a fantastic take on one of the greatest villains of all times. I think the biggest compliment I could give to the two of these voice actors is when I am reading Batman comics and I see Joker and Batman, I really do hear Mark Hamill's Joker voice, and I really do hear Kevin Conroy's Batman voice as well. Overall, the voice acting here I just thought was fantastic. The fact that Batman Arkham Asylum has come out well over 10 years ago, it is amazing. This game has held up surprisingly well. Combat and stealth here are pretty good with a decently solid campaign, but man, this game gets real repetitive with the bad boss fights. Still, I had a pretty good time in this game, and if you haven't played it, it was a pretty solid Batman game even 10 years later playing it for the first time. I came into this game with no bias, and I really did have a good time in this game. If you haven't played it and you want a solid Batman game, this might be the one you're looking for. With that, I'm going to say that Batman Arkham Asylum is good. But what are your thoughts on Batman Arkham Asylum? Did you play when it first came out? And what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear them down below. Next time I will be doing my review for Batman 1989, so you're not going to want to miss that if you're a Batman fan. If you want to make sure that you don't miss it, you can subscribe, and then you'll be notified when I upload that video. Anyways, when that video comes out, I'll see you then. Bye.